Hello and welcome to Future Leaders in Philadelphia. I'm your host, Derek Sawyer. We're bringing you this show so we can highlight young people in our community along with local organizations who are striving to make Philadelphia a better place. Our focus is our community's next generation of leaders. Today, we have members from City Year Philadelphia here to discuss their work. City Year is the national service organization that helps students and schools succeed. Diverse teams of City Year and AmeriCorps members provide research-based student classroom and school-wide supports. The goal is to help students stay in school and on track to graduate from high school and get ready for college, a career, or any other life goals they hunger and desire to achieve. In our area, City Year Philadelphia has teams of corps members in 19 different schools throughout the city. Here to tell us more about City Year is Executive Director Darrell Bundridge. Darrell, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Derek.
So City Year is a national organization. How long have they been in Philadelphia?
Well, we actually are entering our 21st year in Philadelphia.
Really?
So we just celebrated a great 20 years last year. But nationally, we are actually 30 years old this year.
Wow.
So we started back in 1988 in Boston. And now we are in 29 cities throughout the country. And we also have affiliates in the United Kingdom and South Africa.
Great. That's a huge
It's a pretty big area, but people shouldn't get too excited. When you serve in South Africa or the United Kingdom, they prefer to have residents from those towns or those countries.
Yeah.
So we can't all jump on flights
Can't
to
get
go
in here, can't
do
get
a
to
year
Africa
over
for
there.
free, right?
No.
So what is the mission of City Year?
Well, really, it's twofold. So one, our AmeriCorps members are focused on supporting the young people in the schools that we serve in to really reach their potential and identify their strengths, their talents, and zero in and maximize those. That's a key part of it so that they can then be prepared to graduate high school. We want everybody to graduate and go on to whatever step they want to take next, be that college, service, the military, what have you. The other part of that, though, is that we want our AmeriCorps members themselves, after their year of service, to be prepared for their next steps.
Right.
So that could be graduate school, the workforce, more service or whatnot. But we also want them to be developed as leaders so that they continue to really make contributions to society in a multitude of ways. You know?
So what is a year of service like for an AmeriCorps member?
Well, it's rigorous, but it's great. It starts out in August, usually, with 3 to 4 weeks of what we call Basic Training Academy. And that's really laying the foundation of the training that they'll need to enter the schools. Once they're in the schools, we have them work in 4 key areas. Those are what we call the ABCs, but they're also known as attendance. And then the behavior work is more of our social emotional learning.
Right.
So how are we helping students learn about resilience and managing their emotions and things like that? And then the coursework piece is the tutoring we provide in math and English or reading. And then from there, we do a great deal of coaching in the classroom on a school-wide basis and support the students to really obtain the goals that they desire and realize their potential, as we like to say.
So I've seen those red jackets throughout the city. What do they symbolize?
Well, they symbolize so many things. They symbolize success.
Okay.
So, for example, we know that in classrooms and in schools that have City Year, those schools and those students are 2 to 3 times likely to do better in their math and English assessments than schools without City Year. We realize that for our students, those City Year AmeriCorps members represent trust, represent someone that they care in and who's invested in them. So when they meet their City Year members, they don't call them by their name.
Right.
They're my City Year.
Nice.
And we are excited about that. And we know in the community, it represents young people with idealistic mindsets who are ready to roll up their sleeves and give a year basically of their lives for positive impact. And they don't do that for the money. They live on a small stipend.
Right.
But they do that for the improvements and their own self-growth that comes from the experience too.
That's really great. When you think about self-growth, one of the things that stand out to me is you talk about developing them as leaders. How does that work out?
Well, that's an ongoing process for us, and we really try to take advantage of the learning and development opportunities we provide for them throughout the year to really invest in that. One of the specific ways that we think about that is through what we call our LACY programs for our AmeriCorps members, and that's Leadership After City Year. So what is it that you're striving to do, and how are we supporting you in getting ready for that?
Right.
But it's also about how are you taking the experiences in this year and really leveraging them and building your ability in those areas to apply them in your next steps. So whether it's communication skills, problem solving, team relationship building and collaboration, your civic knowledge, any of those pieces, how are you more knowledgeable and sharper in those areas to then be of greater value add to the company, the school, whatever it is that you do next?
Great. Are there any requirements to join?
Yes. You need to be young. So our definition of young is 18 to 25 years old.
Okay.
You need to be willing to commit 11 months to the service year. And ideally having worked with children, and certainly the desire to work with children is going to be a critical part of that. And then lastly, I would say a growth mindset, being willing to challenge yourself and that I don't know everything and I'm looking forward to learning and growing in this space as much as I am helping the young people I serve to do that.
So I've looked at the website and I learned that you do some large-scale community service projects also.
Yeah.
Tell us about that part of the organization.
Sure. We actually just came off of one a few weeks ago. On Saturday, October 20th, we were at Grover Washington Junior Middle School. There we had about 200 volunteers come together for a day. They painted 40 murals and actually built some benches. And the idea behind that is to create a more positive school environment.
Right.
That we want our young people and our school staff who work so hard to walk into a school that they're proud of, that has exciting, interesting, stimulating things for them to see and engage in, and that inspires them. So that's a great practice and build up for our Martin Luther King Day of Service, which is coming up on January 21st.
Right.
And we tout that we are proud that behind the Girard College event that we are the largest in the city. And we have about 1,000 or more volunteers that come out for that day. We haven't chosen the site just yet, but if you tune into the website, you'll see soon that the registration will go up with all the information that you'll need to join us.
I was just going to mention that. I know that we've participated in the fire service and the MLK Day of Service over the last 5 or 6 years, and we always see City Year there.
Yeah, it's a real privilege. We have really benefited also from the relationship that we've had with LaSalle. You all have been great with coming out and sending students to volunteer and whatnot, and we hope that continues in even larger numbers.
That means you have to get some of those volunteers who commit to joining LaSalle University.
Step one, step two.
That's right.
Knock them down one after the other. We're all for it.
Great. So how can an individual or organization help support City Year?
Well, there are a few methods to take advantage of in that space. So if you're part of a business or a corporation, for example, you could adopt one of our teams that serve in the schools, the 19 schools that we're in.
Right.
And in that space, you could also sponsor one of the initiatives that we work on. It could be diversity and inclusion. It might be in our attendance space. It could be in STEM or some of those other areas. So that's one way for the corporations to get involved. For individuals, certainly taking advantage of the service days and coming out to volunteer for that. Feeling free to go to our website and make a donation of any amount. And being willing to talk to potential young people who would do a year of service. We like to think about time, talent, and treasure. There are ways for everybody to get involved in contributing in that way.
I like that, triple T, time, talent, and treasure.
Triple threat.
So tell everyone how to donate on your website. So if they want to give up some money, which I'm quite sure you'll take, right?
At any time. Again, if you go to our website, www.cityyear.org, and then go to the Philadelphia section of the site, the opportunities will be right there for people to donate.
Great. So you're the executive director. How long have you been the executive director?
Proudly serving in my 4th year.
4th year? Great. And what do you find most interesting about your role as the executive director?
Well, my role is just so multifaceted. No 2 days are the same, which makes it very exciting and keeps you on your toes in terms of trying to plan and move things forward. But ultimately, the opportunities that I have to be in the schools, watching our AmeriCorps members interact with the students, hearing from our principals and our teachers about the difference that they see being made, hearing from the students themselves. And certainly when I have the opportunity to sit down with our 18 to 25-year-olds and just talk with them, and through the course of the year, hear how their students are evolving and opening up and how they themselves are evolving. That's
Right.
what inspires me to get up every day and keep doing this work.
That's great. So put on your recruitment hat, right?
Mhm.
And tell everyone why they should come out and volunteer for City Year.
Well, I think for those of you over 25, I think coming out will certainly send you away with a better understanding of both the opportunities and the challenges that are going on in our urban public schools in Philadelphia. I think it will certainly inspire you by being connected to the number of other people who are working to make a difference in that space. And I think it will help connect you to others who are looking for the young people that will make that connection and continue this work forward. If you're a young person yourself in that age range, I think that you will certainly give thought, whether it's after graduation, whether for some reason you need to take a year off during your studies, or before starting college, to giving a year with City Year, or to reaching out to your friends and perhaps doing that together, whether it's in Philadelphia or in one of our other 28 sites.
So there you hear it. Come on out and join City Year. So do you have a success story you'd like to share?
Oh wow! Well, success
I know you
story.
probably have a ton of them, but,
There'll be so many, but I think generally speaking, the ones that we are so proud of are the cases in which the students themselves who were served by City Year are so impacted that they, when they graduate,
Right.
choose to come and serve
Great.
and to pay it forward. And that shows me that they already are realizing the potential and the impact that they can have,
Right.
and they're choosing to leverage that. We have young people who have served with us who have gone on to become teachers and principals, school board members and leaders in the community in all different ways. And I'm continuously impressed by even those who aren't in the education space after their year, those who talk about, I will be a different and better doctor or
Right,
lawyer
right.
because of this year, because of the understanding that I've built in working with the students who so many might see as underprivileged and lacking, but who we see as having tremendous potential, having great talents that just need to be unearthed and explored.
Great. Well, I want to thank you for coming on the show and sharing this information about City Year, and hopefully it'll help get you some more volunteers.
We hope so too in all forms, and thanks again for having us on.
Great. When we come back, we'll talk with some of the young people working with City Year Philadelphia. Please stay tuned.
According to statistics, 40 million adults suffer from depression or anxiety. 1 in 4 college students are affected by this as well. You never know who is going through something, so you should always be kind to one another. A little kindness can go a long way. It might even save a life.
According to the Mayo Clinic, exercising has stress-busting benefits by bumping up your endorphins and improving your mood.
Welcome back to Future Leaders in Philadelphia. I'm your host, Derek Sawyer. Today we're featuring City Year Philadelphia. The City Year service members not only provide in-class support to area schools, but they welcome students each morning with cheer and City Year Power greetings. They create year-round initiatives to further engage students and cheer them on as they pursue their education. These volunteers even provide after-school programming. More than anything else, these young volunteers form friendships and mentor support that translates into students having an enlarged team of advocates cheering them to the finish line of graduating high school and beyond. Let's meet some of these corps members. Please welcome City Year Corps member Lauren Polaris and City Year Impact Manager and former corps member Geneva Sloan. Welcome to the show.
Hi. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So tell us how you decided to become involved in City Year.
So I first discovered City Year when I was an undergrad. I actually went to school at LaSalle University and graduated in 2017. While I was an undergrad, I embarked on 2 different service trips, both Project Appalachia, where we traveled to Harlan County, Kentucky, which is one of the poorest counties in America. So after I returned from my final service trip, I was researching different service opportunities, and I spoke with one of my professors who was going to write me a letter of recommendation to join City Year, and his son had actually participated in City Year in Boston. So that really opened my eyes to what City Year was. And then after I submitted my application, I interviewed, and the interview really just sealed the deal for me that it was where I wanted to be.
So you both serve at Kensington High School, right?
Right now, yes.
How did you wind up at Kensington High School?
I can take that. So Lauren is one of over 200 corps members who serve in Philadelphia. So it's a really big selection process where we really think about the diverse backgrounds of the corps members and all the different things that the corps members are bringing to the table. So Lauren serves on a very diverse team where different people have come from different universities. Some people are traveling from Jersey. Some people live in the Philadelphia area. Some people are native to Philadelphia, and some people are also even from Texas. So these teams are composed of a lot of different people. So the team that Lauren's privileged to serve on is of 11. So there's many different people, and we try to make the most diverse teams as possible. So that's what City Year does. So Lauren ended up on Kensington by fate, and I'm so happy to have her on my team.
Right.
However, it's definitely like a very diverse process to make sure we're getting people from all different backgrounds into different schools in Philadelphia.
So what's a day like for you as a corps member?
So as a corps member, we begin our day pretty early in the morning, 7:15. We come in, we have a group meeting, so that's where we all gather in a circle and we kind of set the groundwork for the day. What's our day gonna look like? How to go about it? And then we go outside and we power grade the students, which that entails different chants and cheers, blasting music on the speakers. And funny story about it, we actually had a neighbor who posted on Facebook about how exciting it is to see people greeting the students in the morning at Kensington.
Right.
So that's really cool. We're definitely making a difference in the community and in the neighborhood. So when we come inside, we have 4 different periods in Kensington, and I currently serve in a math classroom. So I'm in 2 different Algebra 1 classrooms and an Algebra 2 classroom. And during my day, I both serve in the classroom and I do pull-out sessions. So in the classroom, you kind of serve in a tier 1 space and you're helping the teacher. You're an extra set of hands in the classroom. If a student has a question, you answer it instead of distracting the teacher and pulling her away from the entire classroom setting. We also pull students to the backs of the room, so what that might look like is taking 3 or 4 students and having a session with them doing the worksheet that's going on in class. And then we also do pull-out sessions where we may pull 3 to 4 students down to the City Year office, and we will work with those students in a more one-on-one manner or one-on-4 manner. And we will work through whatever problems they're having, maybe gain a better understanding of whichever topic they're going through at the moment. And then we also do different attendance and SEL coaching, social emotional learning coaching. So I may pull a few students down to have a lesson about social emotional learning. And then at the end of the day, we host an after school space 3 days a week. And how that looks is for the first half an hour, there's homework help. So it's enforcing the learning aspect. And then after that, we host different clubs such as Open Gym where they get to play basketball. It's one of the favorites.
My favorite.
And then we also have Video Game Club, International Club, and Cool Things Club. And Cool Things Club is more of a student-run organization. So if they want to host a debate, we'll host a debate for them, board games, etc. And then we close out the day in a circle again, and we go through how the day went, and then we start over next day.
Great. So Geneva, you're an impact manager, right?
Yes.
So what is it exactly does an impact manager do?
All right, so prior to my role as an impact manager, I was a core member, and I returned for a second year as a core member, but I was a team leader at that time. So I was overseeing what the team was able to do, and also like just how the team was able to work with students and making sure that was running really great. After that year, I decided to return as an impact manager. I applied to be a member of the City Year staff. So upon returning to be an impact manager, some of my roles this year are to really make sure the City Year's model is being implemented well in schools. So I really have a lot of meetings with principals, a lot of meetings with different liaisons and different, even other organizations within the city. We think about how can we bring these organizations into the schoolhouse, how can we best utilize these organizations, and how can we best make sure that students' goals are being met.
Right.
So one of the organizations that we work with really in the district is called Gear Up. We work with Gear Up at Kensington High School, and we really think about how are we supporting 10th graders in the attendance space and also in both math and literacy as they continue to reach graduation.
You talked about making sure the model is being implemented. Tell us a little bit more about that model.
All right, so at City Year, we focus on 4 different areas. We focus on attendance. So that's making sure that students are coming to school, right? Because if they're not in the schoolhouse, how do we teach them anything, right? So we're making sure students are there every day. And it's really just the caring faces of the core members that get students to come to school. So if they know that if they stay at home, then Miss Lauren's going to ask them where they were the next day, they're a little bit more, willing to come to school because they don't want the questions.
They want to ask that question. That's right.
Exactly. So we work on attendance. We also work on behavior. So we core members are able to pick students that they really want to work with in behavior. And are thinking strategically about how can I make sure a student feels a little bit more personal responsibility. How is the student maybe setting goals for themselves now and in the future. And we also think about how do we not only incorporate certain students who maybe had a different experience with maybe suspensions or something, but how are we making sure these students feel comfortable when they're coming to school and feel like the school is an engaging environment where they feel like it's a home away from home. Students are ideally spending 8 hours at school every day. That's a long time to be somewhere, so we just want to make sure it's a good space for them to be in, right?
There you go.
And then the last area is math and literacy. So in the math and literacy space, core members are, and at Kensington High School, core members are an indicator-specific classroom. So Lauren only serves in a math classroom, but some of the other core members that I have the opportunity to manage serve only in literacy classrooms.
Right.
And in those classrooms, they really help to support the teacher. They help to support the coursework that's happening in the classroom, and then they also help to make sure students are able to bridge different gaps. Help bridge student gaps. So if students are maybe not performing on level currently, we make sure that we're providing comprehension skills or skills around vocabulary to make sure students are exiting that grade on grade level.
Great. What has been your biggest takeaway from being part of the program?
I think my biggest takeaway is really the relationship building skills that I've been able to work with. So initially I was working in the 5th grade classroom. So 5th grade relationships are very different than all other real life relationships. So I was in a 5th grade classroom at first, but now I really manage partnerships between different principals and different people within the city organization. So relationship building skills across the board have been something I've been able to gain while at City Year. So now if I walk into a coffee shop or I go anywhere in the world, I feel a little bit more suited to have those relationships and build relationships because I've done it so many times with 10-year-olds and umpteen-year-olds.
Gotcha. Lauren, your biggest takeaway?
So one of City Year's founding stories is putting yourself in someone else's moccasins. And I think that for me, it's definitely been to put myself in my students' shoes and even in the teacher's shoes. So I think that definitely there are times where you're not understanding what's going on, and if you take a step back and you really look at the bigger picture and you look at it from someone else's view, you think a little differently. So it's really given me a way to understand my students, understand what they're going through and their needs.
Great. You both have on the red jacket.
Yes.
And you're wearing it with a lot of pride. So what makes you proud to wear the red jacket?
I'll take it first, I guess. So I'm really proud to wear the red jacket because it's been around for 30 years.
Wow.
And there's nothing I could say that exists in my closet that's been in there for 30 years. So it's really nice to be able to wear something that's been in different communities around the world.
Right.
And I think whenever I wear the red jacket in different communities in Philadelphia, it's always like, hey, City Year, how's it going, City Year? And even though the person saying hi, it didn't maybe experience anything that I was able to provide, they experienced City Year at some point in their life.
Right.
And to think about an organization that really is a beacon of hope or a sense of home for different people in a community is really nice.
Right.
So for me, it really is a sense of home. So I feel a little bit cozy in my red jacket because I know other people have been able to reap the benefits of an organization that's also given so much to me.
Got you. Lauren?
So I'm proud to wear the red jacket for a few different reasons. One, it represents unity. So it represents us as a unified AmeriCorps collaboration. And then also because our students are just so excited to see the red jacket. So on Halloween at Kensington, the students were allowed to dress up. And we had students who wanted to be cityers for the day. So they thought it would be so cool to come in the office and take our red jackets and wear them around school.
Nice.
So like it makes me proud just seeing them really excited about the red jacket, whether that's seeing us in the red jacket or them themselves wearing the red jacket.
Got you.
Yeah.
So both of you have goals and dreams, right?
Yeah.
How does City Year factor into your long-term goals and
What is it,
dreams
Chris?
and ambitions?
So my long-term goal is to go to medical school, and I actually applied in the summer, so hopefully I'll be starting medical school next year. And I really want to work in a medically underserved area. So after visiting Harlan, that kind of is what opened my eyes to medically underserved areas, and I really want to immerse myself in that. And I feel like this is a way to immerse myself in a different city. So I'm in Philadelphia, and I'm from South Jersey, so it's not really the same. And it's definitely the population that I want to continue to work with.
Dr. Lauren.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Geneva?
For me, I really want to work with people who are aged 14 to 25. So this is the perfect age range for me. We're able to serve in a high school, so the students are ideally like 14 to 19 years old. So I'm able to be with them all day and be able to learn about the experiences that they've had while they're living in Philadelphia. But I've also been able to work with different Corps members from different backgrounds that are ages 18 to 25, which is also a group of people that I really want to work with. So to be around my people all day is really nice. So no matter where I go, I know that I want to be both working with high schoolers, but also working with people who are entering college, just got out of high school, or thinking about what's after high school or college.
Great. Well, I want to thank both of you for coming on the show and sharing your story, because I believe it's very inspirational for other future leaders out there. So again, thanks for joining our show.
Thank you for having us.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have today. I'd like to thank guests from City Year. If you would like to find out more about this organization, please visit their website at cityyear.org. You can also follow them on Twitter and Instagram at City Year. I'm your host, Derek Sawyer. Thank you for watching Future Leaders in Philadelphia, where we believe investing in our youth is investing in our future.